Eyeballs. Jumpers. Doing weird stuff because it's almost Halloween. Sometimes the thrift gods bless you. They say, ye shall receive. And what you receive is a bunch of eyeballs. And you're like, that's weird, but it's $2, so I'm gonna buy it. And then you go home and you Google what the hell these eyeballs are. And you realize it's the things they make teddy bears and a variety of other eyes out of. And you go, that's really cool. I'm gonna use it for not that purpose. When life gives you eyeballs, you make eyeball aid. In this case, eyeball aid is in the form of a jumper dress covered in eyeballs as sort of like a wearable textile art, or who knows, just like a casual playdate costume. Casual playdate costume? I don't think I've ever said a phrase that makes me sound like an alien more than casual playdate costume. Casual playdate costume. I've already cut out the fabric. So let's rewind from the beginning and start there. Oh, and just a quick disclaimer for this entire video. So I am currently about 90 squares into attaching 140 granny squares together to make a big ol' couch blanket for myself because I cannot bear to look at my gray couch, and also I am a lizard and need to be so warm all the time. But not too warm, but warm enough. And you know what gives you that kind of wonderful comfort? Couch blankie. I am also working on this backpack. I don't know why I thought I could make my first ever backpack with no instructions and no pattern and just draft it myself and assume I just kind of know how to make a backpack. It turns out I don't kind of know how to make a backpack, so I'm gonna do my best to get through it and see if it's functional at all. I made a zipper go. Watch. Listen to that. Should I be taking on a third project right now? Probably not. Am I going to anyways? Yes, of course. What does this mean for you? You're just going to have to accept that my apartment is kinda messy and covered in little yarns about this long because I've vacuumed so much in the last week and yet still I keep finding them. So just embrace the mess. Enjoy it. Join the joy of creation. It's messy, it's difficult, it's experimental, it's poor apartment cleaning practices. Sometimes that's just the environment you need to create. Also, I have one other important thing that I absolutely must show you. I bought this fetching gentleman at the dollar store for like $4, and I just have to say he adds so much to the space. I mean, look at him. What a chap. What a guy. What's his name? Tell me in the comments. I started off by drafting and cutting a general jumper shape. If you look closely, you can see my mondo big brain move to try and get my entire hip measurement into one pattern piece. Because I forgot that I was cutting on the fold and that I wanted pockets. Luckily, I was making a muslin for once. No harm, no foul. I knew I wanted a patch in the shape of an eye on the bib to mimic the pocket that usually goes there. So I cut that too. Before I could decide on a design, I had to count my stock of eyes. My eye stocks, if you will. This was so mesmerizing and satisfying to my little goblin brain. I really love how the glass glinted in the light. In the end, I counted 6 little orange ones, 2 medium orange ones, 6 big orange ones, 2 little yellow ones, 6 little brown ones, 10 medium brown ones, 4 semi-large brown ones, and 2 really large brown ones. Let's take a moment for some eye contact, shall we? Perusing my inventory, I plotted out a rough design for my eyeball placement, though I'll admit, I barely stuck to this. I wasn't really happy with it when I drew it, so I let it stew while I cut the lining as a sort of second muslin. And of course, Piper had to inspect. Here is what we're working with after some pinning and adjustment. It's not bad. It's a little loose here. Loose isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I do think we could take it in a bit at the sides. I just want to be able to easily slip it on and off without having to add buttons on the sides, so we're going to keep that still fairly loose, but we could definitely take out a little bit of that excess. We're also going to bring this down a bit. I think we'll take about 2 inches off of it, just because I really overestimated how tall it would be. It's hard to see how much this fans out just because this lining, there's no body to it, but I think once we add this in corduroy, it's gonna fan out quite a bit more. I'm gonna cut out the outer and then see if I want to recut the lining. We'll see how that goes. All throughout this process, working with this corduroy was a bit tricky. The wale was pretty small, so I could iron it without crushing all the little lines, but the fabric also has spandex in it, so I definitely struggled with some unintended stretching. The embroidery gave me issues for the same reason. Well, that and the fact that I was forcing an embroidery needle through like 4 layers of corduroy that stretches. I've got a question, and that question is, who's ready to stab? We've come to the point of no return. Got my snoopervisor here to make sure everything goes to plan. Have my tailors all. The first of many eyes. Ooh, everybody pray to the crafting gods for me. Okay, so the idea is first you make a hole. Oh, just stab. Oh, does that look like the middle? Looks dark, that's what it looks like. Hold on. Oh, this is so nervous. Do you ever just really not want to do something because there's no going back whatsoever? No, like, no time like the present, right? Okay. Here we go. Well, she's through. We may need to widen that a bit. Let's see if it'll go through first. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Okay. Just a little bit. Okay, let's see if that works. Because it may just. And it may also do nothing. It's very hard to say. We want it to be kind of tight though. Kind of like when you're trying to get a pillow into a pillowcase and it's like, it's not gonna go through, but then it does. That's the goal. That's what we want. That's like optimal. Ooh, oh, you know what? I'm gonna get a closer shot for you. Okay. So we're pushing it through. Come on, push. Push. One stray hair, come on. Oh, come on. Come on. We can do this. I believe in us. Ha! Ha ha! And then, what we're going to do is take this. Oh yeah, can you see it from here? Can you see it from here? We're gonna take this and put it on the peg. Come on, come in. Put it on the peg. I'm so glad I'm not like a regular tutorial person who has to make things look easy because, oh, I don't think I could do it. I'm simply not that talented. Everything's hard all the time, and that's okay, because you can do hard things, and so can I. And then there we go, and that sucker ain't coming off. Now it does have about half an inch. Can you see it from there? It does have about half of an inch of like blowback, but whatever. We have an eyeball. That's like extra creepy because that eyeball is way too big for that iris and pupil. Oh, that's like some Guillermo del Toro stuff. Let's do like 5 more of those. Or maybe 1 million. Woo! So Friday went pretty well. As you can see, we're getting somewhere with these eyeballs. However, I don't know about you, but the eyeball in the center of that big eye patch in the middle is a little bit small, and I needed to save my 2 biggest ones for the actual buttons on the straps. But now this is where we're getting a little off-road, a little bit wild, but I think it's gonna look really cool. So I think what I'm gonna do this morning is just, add some extra eyeballs, baby. We're going off-road, we're going off-script, but I think this is really gonna add to the creepy factor. Yeah, 1 eyeball with some eyeballs like coming off of it is creepy. But what's creepier than multiple pupils in 1 eye? We're aiming for, that's cute, but we don't wanna just be cute. And something tells me this won't just be cute. The main design all set. I sewed the pockets to each side of the shell and then sewed the side seams and the pockets together at the same time by pivoting about halfway up at the pocket, then going back down and around and sewing all the way around the pocket to the top. Let's play Spot the Difference. Can you tell what's different about the Grace on the left from the Grace on the right? That's right, she got a haircut. To make my jumper's straps, I measured out a width of fabric that would be about double the opening of my button clasps. Then I sewed it together, turned them outside right, and top stitched the seams in place. Then I could add on the rest of my eyes. I needed to get this done before I attached the lining so that the eyeballs would be marginally less pokey. Do you like the Band-Aids? They're totally an alt-fashion accessory and not very necessary because I beefed it at the library today. Why would you think that? Who would even do such a thing? Banish the thought. Come on up if you're coming. There she is. We are almost at Jumper Hood. We have eyeballs all over this thing. They're just sort of dotted all over. I tried to put them in places that wouldn't be too painful when I sit down. I still failed at that, but you know, I did my best. I ended up using a lot of eyeballs in that inner eye that would have been in other places, but I just love how good that looks. We've got one thing left that I think is really gonna make this just extra. Hopefully. I want to put some eyelids on just a few of the eyeballs. Just enough that if you're not looking at it from the right angle, you might not notice it. But if you do, it just gives that extra level of like, that's alive. We'll see if that works. Come on, let's go cut them out. Can I have this back? Can I have this back? I sewed the lining to the shell right sides together, and before I flipped it right side out, I added a bit of interfacing at the point where the eyeballs acting as buttons were gonna go. They'd be taking on the extra stress, so they needed the extra help. With a little flip here and a little hem there, it was looking like I had a dress. And that dress was looking right back at me. Hey, excuse me. My eyes are over here. Well, and also over here. And, I guess over here. Well, here also. I really like how this came out. It's not super wearable, but I definitely think I achieved textile art and casual playdate costume. As in, costume one would wear to pretend they're going on a casual playdate, and not, you could wear this casually to a playdate. I wish I had more eyes. That's my one critique. I think when we went off-road and we filled up the eye patch, I used a few too many of my eyes, which didn't leave a ton left for the rest of the dress, and I really wish I could have beefed it up a little more. But I think it's also just sporadic enough that it kind of looks like a normal jumper dress, and if you're not paying attention, you're like, oh, that's a lovely dress, and then I turn and you're like, oh my god, that's an eyeball. And I kind of love that. If you're new here and you want to keep in the Halloween spirit, I've got an ongoing series called Decades of Daphne, where we take a look at Daphne Blake from Scooby-Doo and see all the different fashions she could have worn each decade. And you'll want to subscribe and stay tuned, because I spy with all my little eyes a pretty dope Halloween costume waiting in the wings. Until next time, I'll be watching. I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I got no privacy. Oh.